Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone across the globe, and welcome to our Masters of AI Design and Photography panel today. My name is Liz Desio. I'm the Fiverr Community Manager here, based in New York City, and I am so excited to bring two of our awesome Fiverr freelance artists, Saifullah Ali and Louis Martin, and they'll be discussing how they use AI to improve the quality and efficiency of their creative work. So both of these gentlemen are amazing artists in their own right, and they've just used AI to enhance those capabilities. I know there's a lot of business owners in the audience today looking to bring AI into the creative areas of their work, and these experts will be sharing how they can help with that. So, just a few housekeeping details before we get started. If you are tuning in from any of our social media channels, so that's our LinkedIn, our Facebook, or our YouTube, you can use the comment section to submit questions to our speakers. So, we'll be monitoring those throughout the session, and we'll be answering the questions within the last 15 minutes. So, starting around 11:40 or 10:40, 10:45. And if you're tuning in again from our YouTube, you could use our QR code here in the corner of the screen. Feel free to scan that and it'll take you to a Google form to submit any questions for our speakers as well. So keep in mind, as those questions are building throughout the session, feel free to submit. We'll get to them later on. So without further ado, I will be passing off the mic to Louis Martin.
Hi, everyone. My name's Louis, and I am been a Fiverr seller since 2018, but it wasn't until early this year where I really started embracing AI after I learned how powerful it is. I do work for small businesses, helping make stock images for their website. I do work for book authors, helping to make covers for their books, like customized covers, as well as a couple other, I teach people how to use AI tools like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion. And I've been really experiencing success since I started doing that in January.
Hi everyone and Assalamu alaikum. I am Saifullah from Pakistan. I started my journey on Fiverr since 2017 and I started as a caricature and cartoon artist. I have been drawing cartoons since my childhood, but made my profession in early 2015. And when I came to know about Fiverr and I came to know all about that if we can sell our own services there, I was very much excited to work on here. I really enjoyed working on Fiverr till now. And in 2020, I became a top rated seller in my own niches. And by the passage of time, when the era of the AI started to begin, I came to know that this is going to be very helpful for me in the coming future. So I started to work on it 6 to 7 months ago, and I am using Midjourney and Stably and Diffusion, these kind of softwares, and they are also adding uh, extra and awesome results in my current niches. So this is how my journey is working now. I am working as a freelance trainer and a graphic design trainer as well in my own country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Louis and Seth. Really appreciate those introductions from both of you. So excited to kick off with some of our questions next. So, to our panelists, the first question that I'm going to ask, we might have already touched on a little bit in the introduction, but I would like you to describe what brought you to Fiverr and why you continue to work on the platform. So, we'll kick it over to Louis first, and then we'll hear from Seth after that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Fiverr's been a part of my journey since 2018, but its purpose has changed over time. So initially, I did it purely because I wanted extra income on the side, and I had, a good skill set with marketing and SEO, and that was what it was for. And then over time, as I kind of settled into my professional career, I'm a full-time marketing strategist for an ad agency called Digitopia. Now it's really been about you know, expanding my skill sets, generating new long-term business, and also trying out new ideas and seeing how well they perform on the Fiverr marketplace, and then maybe seeing if I can apply them to my professional business. And started doing AI in November of last year when Midjourney launched their version 4. And that was the version that most people agree was the first one that like really worked. And everyone looked at it and said, oh, wow, this is going to be a huge impactful thing. And of course, in the beginning, I was making really cool art and dogs and cats and stuff like that. But pretty quickly, I was like, there's going to be business professionals that are going to need to use this. They're going to see the value of it, but they're not going to have the time, the patience, or the resources to learn it. And they're going to hire people like us on sites like Fiverr.
Thank you, Louis. And passing it over to Seth, describe what brought you to Fiverr and why you continue to work here.
Okay, my story was kind of very much accidental coming to Fiverr because I was a student of human resource. I have done my master's in 2015, but my hobby was from my childhood was to draw cartoons and to make animations and to see animations. So, as for my part-time hobby, I love to draw caricatures, etc. Then one of my friend told me and that there is a platform called Fiverr where you can use your these skills and sell them as well. So just for fun, I started to work on Fiverr in 2017. I made my gig for start by making us very similar sketches. But then I came to know that the world is moving forward, and I have to learn the digital art as well because sketches are kind of orthodox, and if you want to learn and if you want to animate and make your name in the field of animation, you have to learn the Adobe tools. So side by side, I started some courses from Udemy and implement those things in my Fiverr profile, and that's it. My Fiverr journey started just for fun, and when I started to work on Fiverr, it was really much cool because the level system of Fiverr is so much fun. It's like that you are playing a video game, and at each level you will earn some points, and after that you will get the new level, and that has kind of a getting so much curiosity in me that how the level 2 would like be and how the level top rated would be like be. So along with my fun, I put my passion as well in it, and when I got the top rated level, I said, is that it or not? Then I said, no, I have to excel more. So I started to learn AI tools back in same like Louis in November 2022 when Midjourney was launching its new updates. At start, I used Midjourney and AI software just for reference, not to sell on Fiverr because I was not much aware of that. At that time, I just thought that I have to learn those before I started to get them into my professional profile. So at start, I used them for fun as well. I learned their pros and cons, and when I thought that this is going to be uh, I'm prepared to add those in my professional career, I started make my gigs on AI in for Fiverr, and now that's it. I am in front of you as an AI artist.
Awesome. Thank you both. And I think it's really interesting that having both of you have like a significant career in creative work and art in very different backgrounds, but you've both brought AI into your process. So I wanted to ask you both, and we'll start with Seth on this question. What inspired you, first and foremost, to host an AI gig on your Fiverr profile? Describe what your first gig was and why it's been successful for you.
Okay, my first gig on Fiverr was to create a concept art because I there is some kind of limitations in Midjourney. It's not that AI going to draw everything for you. You have to be as much creative and has to be as much patience to get the acquired result. Working on artificial intelligence software and selling on by using artificial intelligence are two different things. So you have to be very much confident that what kind of results you are getting, and if you are going to a deal with a client, then you should be very much confident that you are going to be able to produce these results. So I started my gigs just for the concept art because I know the concept art is going to be my very first step to move further. So I started to draw backgrounds. I started to make designs which require a minimum amount of Photoshop editing. As I mentioned earlier, that I also learned Adobe tools. And if you are going to be AI art professional AI artist, you have to at least know the Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator because these two tools are going to help you achieve the better results than only relying on the AI tools. So my first gig was only based on concept art. Now, what I am selling is making caricatures with the help of Midjourney plus Adobe tools.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. Louis, what inspired you to host an AI gig on your style?
So my first gig was AI generated book covers, and I saw like right away how it would be so much more powerful than traditional book covers, because what you do typically when you hire a book cover designer, you sit and you're like, hey, I want a circle and it needs to be purple and there needs to be a kid staying in front of it and he has to be this age range and wearing this kind of jacket. And the cover designer, they're like, okay, I'll do my best. But all they really do is they go and they have huge stock image libraries and they just find something that's in the ballpark and then they put the text over it and they're like, that's your cover. And you're like, hey, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. And they're like, this is the best we could do, because they're not drawing anything by hand. So immediately I was like, oh, we could do way better with AI. I have an AI cover. I had a sample, but I can't get it on screen. So immediately I realized that sort of hyper specificity that authors wanted was going to be really valuable. And right away, I had authors contacting me and we were making just rad, incredible covers that actually fit like the style and aesthetic that they wanted. And then after that, I branched into stock images. Stock image library subscriptions are expensive. It's way more efficient to hire someone on Fiverr like me that I'll generate 100 stock images to your exact specifications. You can buy them as a bundle. You'll own them forever. So it's really a win-win, and I can do it very quickly. And I have some other gigs now, like I teach Midjourney. We do, sessions. I do tutoring for people that want long-term subscriptions. But those are my kind of big three right now. And I'm always looking for more that I could branch out with.
Awesome. Thank you, Louis. And yeah, there was talk the other day that Steph and Louis are both going to teach me how to use Midjourney because I'm a painter as well. So can't wait to get started on that. And I think that's really interesting that both of you have been able to really build off that first gig and just kind of go from there and see when AI can be implemented and when it's actually more effective than just your regular artistic process. So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, here's an example of a cover that I did on my screen.
Yeah,
And
that's
cool.
awesome.
she was very particular. She's like, it has to be a young boy. I need him to be wearing a jacket. And it wasn't easy to do. AI is not like plug and play all the time, but like
Yeah,
it would have been impossible to do otherwise.
I am also going through the process that how you have going to draw that, and there are took a lot of revisions in that because not
Yeah.
this is not a single step cover.
Right.
That's for sure. Yeah, that was cool. Thank you for sharing. So moving on to our next question, guys. So this is an interesting one. How has integrating AI into your creative process enhanced the quality and uniqueness of your work? Louis actually already did just share a lovely example, but you're welcome to share an example of this as well. So we'll go to Seth first. How has AI enhanced the quality and uniqueness of your work, Seth?
To be very honest, when the AI came and I see a lot of results and on a lot of social media post the results and the outputs of AI, I was kind of bit of afraid that if someday AI is going to replace me because they were so much awesome. And I was saying that is this kind of art is going to draw by robots, then where should the artist like me goes? So I have to jump in right now. At that time, I searched for the mid journey. I searched for the different AI tools and started to make a plan that how I'm going to implement those things and how I'm going to learn this. So as I told that I am a caricature artist, I am a cartoonist. So I go in that direction. I saw a lot of cartoon examples. I know a lot of artists and different art styles. So I thought, what if I am going to blend my own work with the help of with the blend of AI? I blended both things, my own caricature technology and my own skill with the uh, mid journey. First of all, there in the starting process when I was going to draw caricatures for someone, there are a lot of requirement that body is going to be like this kind of activity is going to be, and this is kind of a gender, this kind of a background. These things I have to took a lot of images from stock images from Google and from the pictures provided by the client. But with the help of AI, these things are very much beneficial for me, because if I have to create a reference by for my own, I have to just write a prompt according to that requirement, and it gave me four different results. And these results are sometimes more than what I was expecting. They are super awesome. I took those designs for reference. I usually redraw them in my own Adobe softwares, and by the help of these, my work, my productivity in the Adobe tools, or in my caricature niches, it gave me like 50% more polished, and the output results are very much awesome. So AI has literally helped me a lot in getting the results much better than before.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. Louis, anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, like one specific example is, sellers often contact us online and they say, "Hey, I want images of this thing. Can you do that?" And for a traditional seller, the best you can do is be like, "Yeah, I can do that, but I'm not going to show you what that looks like until you hire me." So then the buyer, like, they're taking a little bit of a risk and they have to just rely on your reviews and things like that on your site to trust you. But like with AI, what I can do is someone says like, "Hey, I want a book cover that like there's a spaceship going into a black hole." And I can, within 10 minutes, give them concept art and be like, "Yeah, do you want it to look something like this?" And that immediately gives them way more confidence. They're impressed with the speed at which I could deliver it. And then I'm like, "Hey, it's not perfect, but like this is what I can deliver at a pretty, with zero notice. Like imagine what I could do with 2 days lead time." And it allows me to close deals so much faster and qualify buyers, because if they're immediately unhappy or if they're way too picky, then I'm like, "Hey, maybe I'm not the best service for you." But typically they're pretty impressed, and I can seal those deals quickly.
That's
Yeah,
great.
that was a very great example by Louis, and I want to add something from my side too. Yeah, that's this is a thing that helped us a lot, us sellers a lot. That there was a time when buyers has to take a risk that what the output results are going to look like. But by the help of AI, if we are going to generate some reference images, it gives a lot of examples, and it's not. And we are also not in a risk if we are showing those examples to the buyer, because these are just screenshots, and in these screenshots there are different examples. So buyer has a privilege to choose from those examples, that he's liking something from the image one, and he's also liking some from the example image three. So now we have a better idea that what exactly buyer is going to need. So we took the blend of those different screenshots and make one thing combined from those. Right, Louis?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's also awesome to know from a buyer or a business owner perspective, that when you're looking for this type of creative work, being able to get samples right away like that, rather than having to go through the whole process, having to put out money up front. That's a really good thing to know about why it's so awesome to work with AI on Fiverr. So next, we're going to pivot a little bit with this question and go into some challenges with AI. So could both of you, and we'll start with Louis with this question, could you share some insights into the challenges you've encountered when incorporating AI into your creative projects on Fiverr? And how did you overcome these challenges? What advice would you offer to other freelancers looking to do the same? So that's a long question. But Louis, you're up first. I'll put this in the chat so you all can see it.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is expectation setting and really making clear with your clients like what you can and cannot do. I think that the challenge to communicate to clients is helping them understand that AI is not Photoshop, which means that it can generate images. If there's particular parts of those images you want to be different, it often means you have to generate an entirely new image. And the technology is rapidly improving. So AI just released a replacement feature where you can, basically drag and drop a square over an image and replace like a specific part of it, but it's not perfect yet. So the biggest challenges, and the way I phrase it to clients is like, hey, this AI is like a super, super talented 8-year-old, which means that it's going to make amazing stuff, but it might not always follow instructions like the exact way we want it. So the more specific you want to get, the more time consuming it's going to be and the more iterations, because sometimes you just have to keep re-rolling an image until it's right. And there's an element of kind of randomness to it. And the more you try to architect the prompt to tell the AI what to do, like the harder it almost gets. So I think as sellers, it's our job to, one, just be really good at AI prompting, but two, to set expectations really clearly, because it's not as easy as just like changing someone's hair color in AI. Like it often results in an entirely new image. And I think over time, I hope that's going to get better. And also, we could just use Photoshop as a way to sort of shore that up in the near term in some cases.
Awesome. Thanks, Louis. Seth, any challenges that you would like to share?
Yeah, Louis said a lot of productive things. I also want something from my side. Uh, in the very start, I mentioned that you can't rely totally on AI. There is limitation on AI softwares. Like if you are drawing for yourself, if you are drawing for fun, that's a totally different thing. But if you are going to make AI images for clients, that's a totally different story, because client didn't know how AI works. You are the seller, you know how, what are the pros and cons you are going to through. So you have to be very much confident that are you going to able to produce what exactly buyer needs. And there are limitations which I mentioned earlier, is that AI, sometime AI will deliver more than expected, but sometime they are totally in a different path. So at that time, if you are a designer, you have to understand or to know Adobe tools very much. If you are not good at Adobe tools, then you have at least a knowledge of some kind of design software in which you can do work manually. So when I started created my gigs on Fiverr, I have to enhance my Photoshop skills as well. Like Louis said, if the buyer wants to change the hair color, it's not possible in the same image prompt that you can change it. You have to change it manually, and to do it manually, you have to know the other tools as well. So I use Adobe Illustrator, Adobe Photoshop, plus AI when I am going to get a project. It's like if someone right now I'm working on a gaming project. A client wants a background of the video game. He wants different characters in it, and each character is customized. It's not you know, if I'm going to work on mid journey, it's not possible to get that in a single prompt or in a single images. I have to create multiple images, and then have to choose different things from different images, and then have to blend them in Photoshop. At that time, you will know the limitations of AI, and at that time you have to be a great designer as well. uh, what I experience is you can't be a good AI artist if you are not a good designer. You can make it for fun, but if you are going to work for it professionally, you have to learn everything. And in this way, you can tackle those kind of things. And I also recommend to the new sellers or the person who are going to join AI, I would refer them, don't totally rely on AI. AI is very great thing, but you have to get your own set of skills as a designer as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think you both brought up really important points there. I think when Louis said that AI is like a really talented 8-year-old kid who really needs that kind of direction, and Seth, you pointing out that knowing these other design technologies that the average person does not know how to use Photoshop or Adobe. It's really important if you're using AI for a creative project to hire an expert. Otherwise, the AI art is going to look a little crazy. I think we've all seen some of those images that have come up. So hiring someone like Steph or Louis is a good way to really ensure that those art projects will look professional. So wanted to shift over a little bit to discussing AI technology specifically. So AI technology, as both of you have pointed out, is evolving rapidly. So how do both of you stay updated with the latest advancements in AI? Steph, we'll go to you first, and then Louis.
Okay, I started to learn AI art through some certified courses. I started to learn from Udemy. I took some courses from Domestika, and there were some other websites which were giving certifications in Midjourney tools. These courses helped me a lot to learn AI. There were a lot of things going on YouTube which were describing on a specific niche. But if I knew that if I am going to adopt this skill for my professional career, I have to get professional certifications as well. So I took some courses, very certified courses, and those helped me a lot in learning these tools. And I also recommend to the new users, if you are going to jump into the AI, you have to get do your homework. And there are some tools. I also want to add the suggestion to the Fiverr, if they can add in the Fiverr learn AI tool, or AI, they can also teach AI tool. That would be awesome. But where I learned from Udemy, Domestika, and took some help from YouTube as well. And from there, I learned the different techniques and technologies, and I implemented them. And there's one thing I want to add this. At, in each coming of time, or I can say after every month, there is a slight update in these tools. So you have to get yourself updated as well, and you have to know that what's going on in the world, and you have to join the AI communities as well. You have to see the artwork of other artists, and you have to communicate with them that what kind of technique they are using to get those. There are different kind of contests going on those platforms as well, where you are working, and there is a very slight chance of learning, the positive chances of sorry learning from there as well. So if you want to be an AI artist, you have to be among the AI artists as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Louis, how do you stay up to date on your AI technology?
Yeah, so I have three sources that I use. First off is there's a couple YouTubers I follow that they post videos almost every day on AI art. And they do deep like workshops where you can see them testing new features and things. One that I really like is Matt Wolf. He posts all the time and he's always like testing out new technologies and new features. Second thing is newsletters. I subscribe to a couple of these daily newsletters that every morning they send you news in AI, not just with art generation, but also with, AI marketing tools and ChatGPT and things like that. One I really like is the TLDR AI newsletter. I get that every day. And then the third one is Reddit communities. You can post on Reddit when I'm having trouble with getting a certain image. I will go on the Midjourney subreddit or the Stable Diffusion subreddit, and I'll say, hey, how do I do this? And like very quickly, I will get a lot of feedback from them. And some people will even do the prompts themselves, and they'll be like, here, I did it for you. So really supportive community of a lot of kind of scientists mentality users that are always like being really supportive of each other. Last thing I just thought about was if you use a tool like Midjourney, you have to be on a platform called Discord to be able to use it. And Discord has a big community that is usually pretty willing to help. Every Wednesday, I think, the creators of Midjourney and the team behind it, they do like an open QA where they'll talk about new features, and you can stay right up to date with them because Midjourney in particular is very transparent and they release new features every month. And if you don't keep up with them, people are going to start doing cooler stuff than you.
It's good to know.
Yeah, Louis, I also learned from you that I have to visit Reddit also.
Yeah, Reddit is the truth. That's where you really learn quickly.
Yes.
Okay,
Reddit.
okay, Liz, I want to add one thing more.
Yeah, go
The best way to learn something is to jump into it. If you are going to accept something as a challenge, then you are going to achieve something. There are a lot of projects which are very much unique when you get on Fiverr that you have never did before. But when you start in that would be something very new, and by working on that project, you can also learn a lot of things. So to learn something new, you have to jump and to accept the challenge as well.
awesome. Louis, was there something you wanted to say?
No.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for adding, Seth. And another thing that I wanted to bring up too is this is actually brand new, but in Fiverr clubs, we have just started an AI club. And so that is also going to be a place where you could go discuss AI specifically pertaining to Fiverr, but also new technologies. So that'll probably be going out in the email after this call. So stay stay tuned for that as well. And apparently multiple people are asking for Louis to repeat the name of the newsletter. So Louis, if you want to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'll give you two. I just looked them up. So one is the TLDR AI newsletter. Too long didn't read is the acronym. And the other one I subscribe to is called Superhuman. And that is cool because they share every day like cutting edge AI tools that are kind of in the beta phase. And I'm a big believer, like if you get in early and you start using tools when they're brand new, you'll have a huge advantage and opportunity, particularly if you want to sell those services. Like I'm really all in on AI video right now, which is not really ready for prime time yet, but I'm telling you, in 6 months, it's going to be pretty much there, and people that know how to use it right off the gate will have an advantage.
Wow.
I feel like we're getting advanced knowledge because I didn't know that. It's good to know, Louis.
Yeah, that's awesome to know.
Yeah. And so coming back a little bit to your creative input. So as you're using AI, how do you both strike a balance between the creativity that you provide and the assistance that AI offers you? How do you ensure that your artistic vision is preserved? We'll start with Seth and then go to Louis.
Okay, AI is something very much awesome. Uh, Sometimes I have a very rough idea or a vivid idea in my mind, and I just write that idea in AI software, and it give me a lot of more than what I was expecting. Like if I want to get a mascot logo or something, I just write a command that I want a mascot logo with neon colors or this and that. I have some idea in mind that these are the neon colors are going to look like that. But when the AI output the results, they are something very much amazing that I didn't have in a mind earlier. And by this way, AI sometimes AI is much more creative than what we are thinking. But if we are not giving him the proper instructions that what I am going to like, it will give you a totally different thing. So you have to be very much precise with your words that what you want. And what if you are getting something very much more than you were expecting, just uh, note down that what you have said to the chatbot, copy paste that for safe side, give another command. And when you think that you are getting something similar now, and also you want to add something from the previous rank as well, merge those commands and you will get something what you are looking for, and what that is very much awesome. So in this way your creativity and the creative AI bot are in like in a up and down, but if you want to get in a balance you have to keep researching and keep trying. So the thing is, if you keep trying and keep researching and keep experimenting, that would be beneficial for you. And these are how challenges are tackled in AI.
Awesome. Thanks, Seth. Louis?
Sorry, I'm literally having people contact me on Fiverr right now asking for book covers. I don't know if they're watching.
Yes, we love it. That's probably from this call.
I'll be with you momentarily, Tally.
They saw that one book cover and now they're just.
I thought I have to check my Fiverr as well.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, she's watching us. Cool. So can you repeat the question? I'm so sorry. I got distracted.
Absolutely. How do you strike a balance between the creative input you provide and the assistance that AI offers? How do you ensure that your artistic vision is preserved?
I think that you just have to think of it like a collaboration and go into it with an open mind, and think of the AI as like a separate, like I said, just like a child that's really talented and you're working with it. You know, I don't know if there's any Star Wars fans here, but like Princess Leia, she said, hey, the more you tighten your grip, the more things slip through your fingers. And I think just with art in general, you know, I'm an artist beyond just AI stuff. Like to me, like the more attached I get to a very specific thing, the more frustrated I'm going to get. Because sometimes in the creative process, whether you're painting or writing, things just sort of magically take on their own form, and you like have to be okay with that. And that's super true with AI, is understanding that it literally has like a mind of its own, and you have to be willing to be surprised and just be delighted when you're like, oh, that's not what I was thinking, but it's great. Let's keep going with that.
Awesome. Thanks, Louis. And yeah, I think all of that is just really interesting. Just thinking of it as kind of an extension of your creativity rather than something to compete with it, I think is really important. So pivoting a little bit to AI as it pertains to business, as I mentioned earlier, I know we have a lot of business owners on the call today. And also just plugging again, we're going to get to audience questions in a little bit. So if you wanted to post in any of the comment sections on social media or scan that QR code in the corner of your screen, I'll be monitoring those questions. So for our next question, please explain why AI development as a whole is important to businesses in 2023. So Louis, we'll start with you and then go to Seth.
I think it's potentially a really powerful equalizer, which is, had a great example. A seller contacted me. She does bridal showers. She professionally organizes them kind of locally, and she was trying to rank on Google. But a challenge that she has is that, her competitors are, have these big articles that have like 50 images on them, or they're on Pinterest, which is like a really image-centric platform. And she just can't, she doesn't have the resources to hire a professional photographer. She can subscribe to like stock image libraries, but then she'll just kind of be the same as her competitors. So working with her originally, she was like, yeah, I just want like one image for, all my blog articles and then a couple images for my website. And I was like, well, why don't we do like 100 images so that you can really compete with like these Pinterest centric sites? And it, once we worked it out, like it kind of changed her business model for her marketing, because she realized that suddenly for a very, efficient cost, she was able to produce really niche specific images. There's not that many stock images of bridal showers, like there's, maybe 50 on some of these stock image websites. 50, when you start thinking about it, it's not that much, particularly that fit her brand and the way she does it stylistically. She uses all pastels. So now you're trying to find pastel bridal shower images, and there's just not that many if you're using stock resources. But I was able to make a few hundred for her. And, now when you go on her website, it has like a consistent brand feel. It's, very, very visual, much more than it was before. And now she's able to really stand out. So for these tools, what I'd say is, you'll be able to do stuff at scale quicker and more efficiently. And once video starts really ramping up, it's going to change everything, man. Suddenly, if you want to make a film, you can just make it. That's really what it's going to be in probably a couple years. It's going to start with short films. People are going to be empowered to bypass production studios, to skip buying expensive camera equipment, to skip, like getting all these sort of licenses and stuff. So people are going to be more empowered to be creative than ever before in the next 5 years.
Great. Thanks, Louis. Seth, explain why AI development as a whole is important to businesses in 2023.
Yeah, if I am a businessman, I am looking for something very much professional and cost efficient, then I will go for the AI. To be very honest, because in if I'm going to hire a professional, for example, if I'm going to hire a photographer, I have to meet many photographers. I have to take their samples, their tests, and when they are not able to deliver what exactly I was looking for, that would be very much time wasting for me. For tackling these kind of challenges, I think AI is going to replace those kind of persons who are not very much committed and not very much professional. This is very much alarming for the sellers and for the persons who are in a different domains. But you have to get professional. Either AI is going to totally replace you. This is the first thing that I want to mention as well, because this is alarming. But if I am a business owner, here is example which I wanted to quote. Few days back, I was working for a restaurant that was a very small setup, and they were delivering fast foods and lemonades and different kind of cocktails. So the problem they were facing was to get a professional photographer who can do a different kind of food photography for those. Food photography is a very professional thing. Not everyone can do it, and hiring a food photographer is also a challenging task. But with the help of AI, that client contacted me and asked me that she want a different kind of menus items for that. And this was a very unique project for me because I was doing food photography for very first time. I am not a photographer, but with the help of Mid Journey, I created very stunning and very appealing kind of food photography for her. And she was very much amazed to see the results because it was not a very these were not real things, but I made a different kind of fast food items for with the help of AI, and that was more that was what she was not expecting. That was more than for her expectations, and this is where I saw the difference. So if AI is going to work the pace with the pace of the AI which it's running right now, if it's going to work like that, I think in the coming future you have everyone who listens to the podcast have to jump in the AI right now, because either they are AI is going to replace you, so you have to learn it right now, and this is the future.
Awesome. Thanks, Seth. Yeah, I think AI definitely is the future of some of these things that were particularly difficult, as both of you had really good examples of the bridal shower and the food photography there. AI is definitely going to be at the forefront of all those things. So learning it is definitely important.
Hey,
And
can I add one thing?
yeah, go for it.
Just to clarify, and maybe we'll talk about this, but like, I think it's the way that I like to phrase it very particularly is like, AI won't replace you as an artist. People that can use AI will replace you, which is that, you know, this sort of just like dystopian future that people have where just like a robot is doing your work. It's not what it's going to be. It's going to be people that have that skill set, and particularly if they're trying to sell it on a site like Fiverr, they're also going to need to be outstanding communicators and have really good customer service.
That's a
Yeah,
really good point.
but I also want to add that in Louis' answer. Yes, the people are going to the people who are using the AI is going to replace you, but you have to be professional. This is
Hmm.
what I want to add. If you are not professional and just a crowd in a AI, then I think that AI will find something else to replace those things. So you have to learn it and learn it professionally to sustain the balance. If you are not going to, if you are going to use AI and wasting it technology, then there, you know, if I am a business owner, I am creating something, I will create by looking in the market that what's not delivering or what's wrong, and I will overcome that. And if you want to not overcome that, you have to be professional in that thing. I hope I made my point clear in that.
Awesome. Yeah, no, you both made very good points there. And I think that what you've both brought up is really bringing up this audience question that I saw that I thought was really strong. It's from Lisa from LinkedIn. So shout out to Lisa if you're still on. And the question is, do you have any opinions on people profiting off of AI art without any experience in or use of traditional or digital art? So, Louis, we'll hear from you first and then Seth.
No. In the same way that like I don't have a problem with a photographer like taking a picture that looks beautiful and they don't have any experience as an artist. Like they're good at their medium, which is photography. They don't do another medium, which is drawing or sketching or something like that. Um, I think that this is something, I mean, it's a big topic and like I don't have all the right answers on it. You know, originally I never called myself an artist when I was doing AI, and I even though I make AI art for fun, I really focus on like the practical business applications that can help small businesses, you know, be faster and smarter. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it, and even if I did, there's you can't put this toothpaste back in the tube. It's going to be happening. And also what I've learned is that, you know, you can go on Midjourney today and you can just type in, hey, make me a picture of a cat and like make it look super cool, and it'll do it. And then you kind of come away being like, oh, this is so easy, like I didn't have to do anything. And then you know, you kind of can start bugging out if you're not careful. But once you actually start thinking about like the mechanics of like making very specific things, about, you know, sizing things correctly and framing them and getting the tech to upscale them and sell them, you realize that it is a high level of skill that you have to have. So yeah, anyone can play around on a tool like Midjourney and come away really impressed. But like when it's time to get to work and make things that have certain requirements, then you start realizing it takes a level of talent and patience and consistency that you got to be a certain type of person to master.
Okay, I want to add something in, for that question as well. The question was that do you have any opinions people profiting away in use of traditional? Okay, for the newcomers, when a newcomer is coming in a marketplace that is already very competitive, and he has to excel in that, and if he is going to use AI for that, then he has something very unique. It's based on his ideas. That what idea he's bringing up into the marketplace. If you have some unique idea and you are very new in the AI world, then you can definitely earn and get benefits and fruit from them. Like I can say, there are a lot of websites that sells T-shirts with different designs. uh, in the start, I know the competitors, I know a different artists who are selling t-shirts and they are making designs from them by themselves. Now they are also taking the help of AI to design, and they are not hiring another artist to draw for them. They are just using these AI tools and making very minimal kind of designs and selling them. If you have something very great with a great idea and that is not already been in a market, then there is also a place for you. So when you are coming, you are a very newcomer and you want to earn from something from the AI, then the most important thing is your idea. Bring up something unique idea, and there is always a place for you.
Good stuff. Yeah, and I like how both of you, aren't gatekeeping AI art. If people want to learn, you're open to them learning, and I think that's great. A lot of the questions in here are also about how to get started on learning with AI. So, one I wanted to bring up was before learning AI, should we learn prompt engineering, or would it be included in the AI course? This is from Mohammed from LinkedIn. Seth, you can take it first, and then Louis.
Yeah, you know, this is what I have gone through. If you are going to jump into AI, you have to do a lot of research. You have to do a lot of practice for using it professionally. Some people, most of people are using AI for just for fun right now. They are just creating images for gifts for their friends, for them, for themselves. They are not using it for the professional purposes. But if you are going to use it professionally, you have to learn everything unique, everything new, everything updated, everything outdated. So if you want to stand out in the competition, you have to know everything. You have to learn the prompt engineering. You have to know how the image processing is going through. You have to also know other tools, like I have mentioned again and again. You have to know other designs tool. I am specifically saying for Adobe tools because they are widely accepted everywhere. Their extensions, their files, they are accepted everywhere in the world. So you have to learn these tools as well. You have to be a great designer to become a AI artist as well. If you want to grow professionally, you can't rely just on AI. You can't just rely on your other skills. You have to blend them both. And you, wherever you are going to learn, just pick everything good from everywhere and add them to your work. This is it.
All right. Louis, should you learn prompt engineering before using AI?
No. So to answer Mohammed's question, if you learn prompt engineering, then you have learned AI. So what I would say is, so I teach a course where I'll teach you Midjourney, and through the course of it, you will learn prompt engineering through trial and error. Prompt engineering is just a term that means you've gotten really good at writing prompts, and you
Yeah.
only get there by doing it many, many times. To dovetail on something that Seth said, uh, I used to offer an AI course, not a course, but I offered a gig in Fiverr where you could do, like 30, 45 and 1 hour sessions. And I was like, hey, in 1 hour, I'll teach you everything, but now I'm like, we kind of need two or three because, there's so many features now that they're all going to help you do your job. And I've learned that like in an hour, I kind of have to cram them in. So now I'm just like, hey, I recommend an hour if you're serious about it. And really, I recommend like a two-parter. And I even have a client now where I'm offering tutoring to her daughter and we're making a whole syllabus and we're doing like a 6-week course, and she's asked me to make her assignments and things like that. And at first I was like, that's kind of a stretch, like you don't need 6 weeks to do it. But once I sat down, I was like, yeah, like it could take that long to really get good at all the different features. But yes, I will include prompt engineering in my Learn Midjourney course, and we'll kind of go through it together.
Awesome. Thanks, Louis. Thanks, Seth. So a lot of questions have come in around ethical use of AI. There's a couple different ones here. One's around intellectual property. One question is that Seth mentioned he's able to create photos of food that weren't real for a menu. What is the risk here to show the customer things that are not real, to illustrate a service or product that you are selling? So I kind of want to answer that question. We'll go with Seth first and then Louis.
Okay, can you repeat that question again, because I didn't get it very much.
Yeah. And I'll put it in the chat as well. Seth mentioned he was able to create photos of food that weren't real for a menu. What is the risk here to show the customer things that are not real, to illustrate a service or product that you are selling?
Yeah, that is a very unique and very good question. I really like whoever asked this. The thing is, I didn't created something that was not offered by the restaurant services. I created images of, uh, you can say, burgers, cocktails. I just made them in a presentable way. It's not that I created something and the person who's delivering is the totally different. It was the representation of the thing. Like if I'm going to make a burger picture for you or a burger picture for the restaurant, I make it look much very appealing. The color contrast, the background, the lighting, everything that is made by Mid Journey was like very cool. That it look attractive. It doesn't say if the client is putting that burger in menu and not offering and giving you a sandwich inside the burger. That would be unethical if that person is doing that. But if he is going to add that thing in menu, he would be very specific. I didn't created anything by my own. He was giving me instructions that this kind of thing is he want to add. He want to add cheese in that. He want to add beef in that. So I have to put everything while creating those images. I just made those images more appealing, more eye catching, more attractive. The color combination, the lighting, these are the things which I put from my side to make it look much awesome. It's not like that I created something different and he's selling very much different thing on her menu or in a restaurant. That would be unethical if he's going to do that. But from my end, I only created the things which he told me to do that.
Right.
And this is how.
Sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead, Seth.
Yeah, and this is how it works. You have a contract on Fiverr, in which the clients give you the description. He will add the description when you will submit the work. If he needs some kind of revisions, you will do it. Everything is in a record there. So it's not unethical if you are providing what client is asking for. Instead, he is asking for something that is written in the policies. If you are doing something that is not in the policy, that would be unethical. But you have to draw or design everything what client is asking for, and your duty as a designer is to draw for them. And it's on his end that what he's going to do with that. It's not my headache or yours. So your question is good, but the answer is we will provide the things which client asks for, but we will try to make it more appealing. That's it.
And I mean, regular food photography isn't exactly what's on the menu either, right? Don't they like make things out of cement and like
Yeah, there's like lawsuits about food photography. Yeah.
Yeah. So Louis, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with Seth. Like, if first of all, you assume all responsibility for what you put on your website or your product. If I make an AI image of a hamburger and then you put that on your menu and it's not real, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't do that. I wouldn't recommend it. But you're responsible for it because I just made you the AI images. As far as like, the person on the chat, what is the risk to show a customer things that are not real to illustrate a service or product you're selling? Like one example, that is when I first started my book cover gig, I put fake book covers on my gig because I hadn't had any orders yet. So I had to make samples. But I was like pretty transparent. If anyone asked, I'd be like, oh, those are sample book covers. They're not real. And then over time, I replaced them with real ones that I made, and people can go see my reviews and ones that I made. So I was like pretty open and honest about that. But yeah, like generally, like I have a client, they have like a little bed and breakfast, and they wanted me to make images, and they wanted to write blog articles about like, oh, this is what you should look for in a fall getaway or something like that. And I made AI images, but I was like, hey, this is obviously is not going to be your specific location. Are you okay with that? And they were like, yeah, we're fine with that. And I said, okay, cool. As long as we have that understanding. If you write an article about your specific place, I highly recommend you don't use fake pictures. That's probably not going to be great for your customers. And they're like, oh yeah, of course. So it hasn't really been an issue. And if someone wanted me to do something, unethical, I'd probably just decline and be like, no, we shouldn't do that. I don't want to be associated with that if something happens that's not favorable to you.
Thanks, Louis. So we're getting close to the end of our conversation, and I wanted to make sure to get this one last question in before we close. So I know there's a bunch of unanswered questions in there, but Steph and Louis are available on Fiverr. Their Fiverr links are in their name tags. You can also find them on socials. And, there will be another Masters of AI conversation happening September 14th. So if you'd like to tune into that, if you didn't get your question answered at this one, we're happy to have you at that as well. So for our final question of the day, when someone's looking to use AI to improve their business model, why should they hire an expert like you, Louis and Seth, to make the most out of the technology versus just trying to use it themselves? And we'll hear from Louis first and then Seth.
Well, I would ask them, what is your time worth? Because you can't just sit down and make it immediately. So you're going to have to invest resources, mainly your time, to get the image the way you want. And it's going to take a lot of time. It's not going to be a little amount, particularly if you have a specific vision. And I'm assuming if you're a small business and you're a business owner, you're busy, you don't have time to do that. And it's more efficient to pay someone like me to do it quickly and do a really great job on it. And also, there is some cost associated with it. So, to use most AI tools, you have to pay some sort of money. It's a pretty nominal fee. But then once you start thinking about it, you need to get some additional tools. You probably are going to need an Adobe Photoshop product, or at least like a paid version of Canva. You probably are going to need some sort of image upscaling tool. So all of those things, if you're making a lot of them, you might need to buy some hard drives if you have a lot of high quality images. But it really just comes down to time and being able to just give someone that is a good communicator like me and say, hey, this is what I want. I need 100 of these things. Can you do it in 5 days? And I'm like, yep, place your order. And then it's just like very low drag. There's no friction in the process. And you can get back to doing the things that are most important that only you can do, which is running your business, and let me take care of the AI stuff.
Thanks, Louis. Seth, why should businesses hire an expert like you to make the most out of AI?
Okay, the answer to this question is very simple. If you are going to make your brand, that is your identity, and you are going to, this is the face of yours. So you have to make it very much professional and very much productive. And the user interface is very much important for that. If you are going to, if you think that only AI technology can help you by doing that by yourself, that's not possible. There are a lot of things going in the background which you have to understand. Like I said, there are limitations. If you are going to create a some website and you want the theme to be similar, but you also want that to be customizable, that is not possible just by going or drawing through AI. You have to need a designer. You have to need someone with a creative mind. You have to need someone who can add positive things in that as well, who can give you opinion. And this is how things work. Your business is like your identity, your face. You are not going to change it again and again. You have to make it once and make it professional. So if you want something professional, you have to hire professionals. You have to get ideas from them as well, your addition to your ideas. If you I mentioned again and again, uh, if you are going to work on a AI, you have to be a designer as well. You have to be a mind of designer as well, because there are some limitations that can be worked with the help of different tools, and you can't master everything at all. You have to need a person who can, the single person who know everything, and who can do everything for you in steps. And everything need uh, you need, if you want to need something, build something awesome, it would not like to get in hours. You need, the more you put time in that, the more efficient and productive it would be. And for that, you have to hire someone professional who can give you a lot of positive things. He can give you a lot of examples, and you have to go the process from scratch to the final result. And this is how the good and productive and professional things came out.
Thanks, Seth. And since we do have to wrap up, it has reached 11 a.m. I wanted to say thank you so much to Louis and Seth. You both were incredible panelists today. I know I learned so much about AI art, and I'm hoping everyone in our audience feels the same. Wanted to say thank you to everyone in the audience who came, tuned in, sent your really thoughtful questions. Wanted to point out that this webinar will also be available on our YouTube channel. So if anyone wants to go and refer to it after the fact or send it to anyone who wasn't here, please feel free to do so. We will be signing off now, but I wanted to encourage everyone also to check out the AI Club on Fiverr, and also visit Louis and Seth's profiles. As I mentioned, they're down there in their name tags. We'll also be sharing an email after the webinar. So thank you all so much again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.